now. Welcome, everybody, to the Rye Town Council meeting of February 17th, 2022. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Tommy?
Okay. Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make every decision fair-minded and the best interest for all its residents. Amen.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Pamela Jaffe. Here. Councilperson Jill Axelrod.
Here.
Councilperson Thomas Nardi.
Here.
Councilperson Lindsay Jackson.
Here.
And Supervisor Gary Zuckerman.
Here. Adoption of minutes for January 4th, 2022 and February 4th, 2022, which was a special meeting. May I have a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
If there are no additions or corrections, all in favor?
Aye.
First resolution is to approve budget modifications and transfer requests for the 2021 Town of Rye budget. This is something we do at least once and usually more than once a year to move expenses, et cetera, around from one line to another, because during the year sometimes we expend more money and others less money in any particular line. So Dave, are you on?
Yes,
Dave Burns?
I'm here.
You're on mute.
Yeah, mute.
No. Am I?
Nope.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but I don't know if they can hear you.
Sometimes you have to unmute. The host has to unmute sometimes. That's what happened to me. I couldn't unmute.
Yeah, because I'm not on mute.
Let's send Debbie a chat note.
We lost them anyway.
There's Dave.
Or the back.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I'm not on mute.
Still
Can you hear me?
Still muted.
Still muted. Dave.
He's got to unmute himself.
It's
Dave, you're still on mute. Can you unmute?
okay.
He seems
can
not
hear
to be
me.
able to unmute.
Yes, I can hear you.
Denise is having the
Okay.
same problem, it appears.
All right. Dave, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, good. Did I say anything in my introduction that was incorrect?
No.
I am correct. Okay, and
You are
the
correct.
budget modifications do not change the budget at all. There are pluses and minuses, and the numbers before the modifications, the total numbers after the modifications are exactly the same. Are there any questions?
I have a couple of concerns, and I know I've spoken to Dave about this. I did some math, and first of all, does this budget transfer, we'll have an additional budget transfer to the town of Rye, the Rye Town Park, I'm sorry, for operating costs?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Dave, can you try speaking, please?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Is
Yeah,
it
it's getting better.
Say it again, please, one more time.
Can you hear me now?
Can you guys hear him?
Yeah.
Better?
Better.
Keep going? Okay?
Okay.
Better? Keep going?
Okay. This is just the town of Rye budget modifications. Lindsay, if you can, I'm not sure of the question because it doesn't impact the.
So
Rye
are we
Town
gonna,
Park.
do we owe any funds to Rye Town Park for operations, to cover operations for 2021?
There will be an expenditure for the town of Rye's share of the deficit for Rye Town Park. The preliminary deficit, I believe, is just under 95,000. So the town of Rye's share of that probably will be about 45,000. But then the audit's starting next week, So if that holds, there'll be a expenditure of 45,000 for the 2021 subsidy to Wright Town Park.
But that's not extra money. That's already in the
No,
budget.
I understand that it's, we are talking about the same appropriated figure. I was just kind of doing a little math. And so, first of all, we can expect to see an additional budget transfer then to cover that 45,000?
No, it wouldn't be a budget transfer. That was already budgeted for in the 2021 budget.
Okay, and we have enough money in that budget line to cover it?
Yes.
Okay, well, and like I said, my concern is I was doing some of the math, and out of the, 5.8 million that was appropriated, we're now moving around 3.4 million, which is 58% of the overall appropriate funds. I think that, my experience, and I could be absolutely wrong, but I think that's a high amount, and, I am concerned, so I would be interested in seeing what, our past transfers were in previous budgets, and, sort of the progression of that over the years. Again, I think that this is a big number.
The amount of line items that were changed was a lot greater number in 2021. Kathy Hamill of M Group, they kind of got specific about transferring between line items so that during the audit that they'll be closer to the budget. In the past, we probably have exceeded line items and been over other line items within the same department. And that's, but just trying to get a little closer to line items. But we have also made some adjustments in the 22 budget to reflect some of the changes for some of the overages anyway.
Yeah, no, and I understand, and I thank you for your kind of quick reaction to help us through the budget process in December and make those adjustments or give us a concept of that. But again, my concern is sort of the nature of these transfers. Why are we having so many transfers? More than half of the funds that we're allocating are now being moved to different budget lines. I would like to see the progression if you have a moment, sometime in the near future, just to provide, because again, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, but Lindsay, there's not a reason to be concerned in that the amount of money doesn't change.
No, the overall appropriation stays the same.
What you're suggesting is that the town is not budgeting properly for the lines. But according to what I heard from Davy, is that the accountants are being much more strict in how the numbers are being allocated to the different lines. And, you can, if you budget $5,000 for supplies and you have supplies in that particular year of $4,990, that means you have to make a $10 budget transfer. So to get it exact, I think that's what Dave is saying, is that the accountants are being much more strict to make sure that all the budget lines line up. You can't, aside from salaries, you really can't predict any particular line in a budget, whether it's supplies or equipment. We may budget, $10,000 for new computer equipment, and the computer equipment comes out at $11,192.43. Well, then that requires a budget modification.
And that's understood, but, all said and told, that total, whether it be $10 for office supplies, came up to 3.54 million. That's a change of more than 58% of what we put in the budget. So if we allotted something to one budget line, we didn't necessarily stick with it. And, I understand that things happen, things come up. This was the first full year that we took over the court. And I know that things had to be moved and changed around. My concern is the volume with which it was done. But any in any sense, the town needs to be made whole fiscally. The budget transfers have to go through, and, I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention.
Yeah, but it's just good accounting practice that at the end of the year, at the end of going into the audit, that all the budget lines line up appropriately for what was actually expended or received. Especially the expenditures, because you simply can't predict it. And it's just good accounting practice. It's not that something is unusual about it, because it's virtually impossible to predict to the penny what any expense would be over the course of the year. So this lines it up so that at the end of the year, the amended budget reflects accurately what was actually spent in each line. Am I correct, David?
Yes, and I think the other thing to look at is that because, I understand where Lindsay's looking at the total of the budget line items, because they do total up to that 2.5 plus the 800,000, but that's taking the original budget line item. I think we probably maybe what we'll do in the future is look more at the plus and minuses, the increases and the decreases area, because that's really where that budget line item changed, and maybe address more of the major differences for individual budget line items and not worry about so much some of the smaller ones. But that's why there's a lot more budget line items that have been included this year. If you add what those line items are, that's where you're coming up with the 3.5, which to your question, basically, yeah, we are amending a good portion of the line items in the budget. So it's a good comment, and it's, again, we're just being a little bit more proactive at the end of the year before the audit. And and I told Kathy there'll be some questions on this.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I I'm not blaming or insinuating anyone is not correct in it. I just, from my perspective, money's going from line to line, and 58% of the budget, we sat there at length. Dave, you suffered through it too, to go over a budget, and especially this year, to build an appropriate budget, and things change. I am very much aware of that, and I wouldn't expect anything less. But again, it seems like we're not, or I guess there was such a difference between what we enacted and what actually occurred, and I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jackie? Yes. Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Next resolution is to renew the license for Arborscope. Debbie, you want to talk us through this?
So Arborscope is proprietary software that is owned by Bartlett Tree Experts, which is the company that provides us with our arborist services and the guidance for trimming and keeping our arboretum healthy, as well as helping us eradicate invasive species, which is, we're now in the last year of our grant to eliminate invasive species. So Arborscope was used, actually, we have a tree inventory at Wright Town Park that was funded by a DEC grant and ended with a tree inventory on Arborscope. And 3 years later, we received a grant also from the DEC to do a tree inventory of Crawford Park, which culminated in a tree inventory on Arborscope, which is used by staff to maintain and monitor our trees. It's used by the public to learn about our trees. There's a portal on our website, or there was, where the public could use high-tech tools to identify trees, understand what they are. It's a license that it's a 3-year license, and I'm proposing that we renew it so that we and the public can continue to enjoy our tree inventory.
And this actually does help us in our maintenance of being a Tree City USA, correct? Because we do have to account for all of our trees.
That's absolutely correct. It was used also for a FEMA request for a disaster declaration for Tropical Storm Isaias. FEMA requested the coordinates of every tree that was damaged in the storm, and Arborscope was used to produce that like that. It was quite remarkable. It's also for future grant applications. Our tree inventory will be a critical piece of the data that we provide.
That is true.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second?
So, I'll second.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson? And
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, and
Thank you.
we didn't mention the cost. It's a 3-year period at cost of $2,600. So it's not a lot of money.
No, it does help us with grant applications
Yeah.
and bringing money back to town.
And I know, and Vic could probably give us a better sense, but I know as long as I've been on the board, Debbie and Pam have been working very hard to kind of tackle the invasive species issue. I know that there's been several outings with community volunteers. Do you know how we're doing on that front? I mean, you're never going to get rid of them, unfortunately, but have we improved over the years?
Definitely improved the. Hi, Vic Federico, Director of Grounds and Facilities. Yes, definitely improved the property. All you have to do is walk around, you'll notice it. Definitely improved the trees by getting these vines, as you see throughout anywhere in Westchester. A lot of trees are being choked.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, this has improved.
Great. Well, I want to thank you and Debbie and Pam for your efforts in this. I think it's really important, especially for open spaces. So.
Thank you. All right, we passed that resolution. We had comments after. Next resolution is to authorize a retention of Edie McCarthy, McCarthy Consulting Services. Debbie, do you want to explain this?
Yes, as the council is aware, we undertook a major property revaluation several years ago. Our monitor for that project was Edie McCarthy. She stayed on last year to help us wrap up some additional items that were likely to come up. She's also provided various services, support services on matters from time to time. Her guidance proved very useful, and we consulted with the assessor, and we would like to be able to call upon Ms. McCarthy from time to time as needed. This is not a retainer. This is a per-hour arrangement, so if we have no need of her, we will not be paying her anything. On the other hand, if we do have need of her, we will have her services available to us.
Thank you. Comments from anyone? May I have a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Brooke, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe? Yeah. Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Now we get to what we do every year, the Homestead base proportions. And they're established for the town of Rye and for each of our the constituent school districts and for each of our constituent villages. Denise, do you want to explain what this is?
Well, because the town of Rye adopted Homestead when the initial reval was done in 2004, Homestead basically adjusted the proportion of commercial, non-homestead, and residential piece of the pie, let's say. And generally in a reval, the residential component ends up absorbing a higher value. So Homestead is put in place to smooth that out a bit and bring some of it back to the commercial level. And so this calculation is done every year so that this apportionment basically reflects that.
So that each entity, homestead or non-homestead, commercial and residential, maintain separate parts of the assessment. Basically, what this does is it shifts the tax burden away from the homeowner and onto the commercial base at a greater rate, so that commercial tax rate is actually higher than the residential tax rate. And just as a warning, in some parts of our community, the commercial rate has gone up so high that I think I can say with confidence that some of the commercial entities will have hesitation in coming here in the future. And it's something I think that we're going to need to look at in the future. But right now, we're establishing them. And Denise, these are all approved by the State of New York, Office of Real Property
Yeah.
Tax Services?
Yes.
All right. Except one is not on here, the Village and School District of Portchester is not here. Can you?
Yes, that would be two of them.
Yeah, the Village and the School District. And why is that, briefly? Are you still investigating those numbers?
No, the numbers are there, they're fine.
We don't
I
have,
wasn't sure why they weren't on, if you wanted to hold it for further discussion, or,
well, they're not on the agenda, that's why I'm asking. I know that there was that you were looking further into those, but we don't have those on the agenda.
well, they were fine as of yesterday.
Okay, is there a way we can add it to the agenda?
But with the last email, I thought we were waiting on you to confirm it. That's why it's not.
Do we have
Debbie,
it?
do we have the
Well,
same?
I sent an email yesterday saying that the town and Portchester schools changed slightly, and they're ready.
Okay, that didn't make it onto the agenda. Can we put it on the agenda? We'll go through the others and do that at the end if we need to. All right, do we have
You
those
may-
numbers?
Gary, do you want to wait until there's more discussion about that, since it's not on anyway?
Well, can we wait? We could put it on next month, but
No, all of these would have to be approved by March 1st.
so we have to do it tonight.
So when am I going on
Or-
the computer and update the resolution?
No, we could do it right now. I just.
Okay, let's do that, and we'll start through the other ones, and we'll do that one at the end.
Okay,
All right?
so,
So you can work with Debbie. Debbie will upload it, and we'll get it done.
okay, so I'll read these three.
You don't have to read them. We
good.
have them in front. We have them in front of us.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful
Okay.
thing. I did check these, and these are the right ones.
Okay.
For at least for the town, Village of Rye Brook, Brook Schools and Rhinebeck didn't change from the prior week.
Okay.
Was I copied on the email from you with the Portchester rates?
No.
Okay,
but I
if
can
you
do
would
that.
kindly
I can
forward
do
them
that
to
right
me now,
if you'd
I'll
like.
go
Yeah.
do that. Paola and I will go do that.
There's new resolutions, so I sent those yesterday. I'll copy you on that now, Debbie.
Okay, so I'll
and-
pick
and
up those
hopefully-
numbers and drop them into the resolution.
Just have to find it.
So why don't we move forward while Debbie, you and Denise will send it to you, you'll load them up. And meanwhile, we'll work on the others. We have several. First one is establishing a homestead-based proportion for the town of Rye. We know what the town of Rye is. And that rate is approximately, that's a homestead residential rate of 64% and a commercial rate of 35% approximately. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
I'll second.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yeah.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. The next one is establishing a homestead-based proportion for the village of Rybrook. And that's a residential property rate of 75% and a commercial of 24% as base proportions. And obviously that reflects the fact that the village of Rybrook has a much higher residential population than commercial population. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe? Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson? And
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Blind Brook School District, which is a homestead-based proportion of 85% for homestead and a little under 15% for commercial, reflecting again the large proportion of homeowners over commercial in the Blind Brook School District. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
I'll second.
Might as well.
Might as well.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe? Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, thank
I
you.
would suggest on the two that had to be added, Denise emailed them over to us, to me now, to add them onto iCompass. I think it would be quicker if you just,
Yeah, well, I don't know the rates until when I get to it, okay?
good.
This is for the Rhinebeck School District, and this establishes a homestead rate at 88% and a commercial rate at 11% in round numbers. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
I'll second.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe? Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. And now the Village of Portchester, homestead-based proportions. Hope, would have sent to you what was,
Denise, do you want to, you want me to call them out? or
I'll
do you-
read them off the spreadsheet. I'll read them off the spreadsheet to make sure we have the right one. So
Okay,
you want the Portchester School District?
First, the Village of Portchester I have open right now.
Village of Portchester is 48.058975. Non-homestead is 51.941025.
Which is which? Did you read the homestead or the non-homestead? Which is the first one you read?
The homestead's at roughly 48%. Non-homestead is roughly 52%.
Thank you. I don't think we need to get into the decimals. Thank you. May I have a,
Well, because there were different versions, Gary, I just want to make sure they're
Okay.
the right ones.
all right, that's fine.
And Portchester School District.
No, we got to pass a
So
resolution first. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe? Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson? And
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, okay, and now the Portchester School District numbers.
Okay. Homestead is 48.446318. Non-homestead is 51.553682.
Okay, thank you.
So
Thank you.
48 and 52.
We're right on the base. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Please call the roll. Hope?
Councilperson Jaffe?
Aye.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. If you notice, the Portchester numbers have a number for the commercial that is higher than the residential. And that, if I'm correct, that flipped, right, Denise? Last year, it was still lower, and it flipped so that it's higher now, the commercial.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Substantial.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to before. All right, that completes the homestead-based proportions, and now we have a series, thanks to our tax cert attorneys, of tax cert settlements. The first is Monument Park Associates, and I spoke to Dan, this is near Purdy Street, and you can see Dan, we'll just say briefly basically, this goes all the way back to 2016. So, you have 6 years of settlement here, do you know offhand what the payback was? Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor and Board. On these, on the
You can
tax
introduce
certs,
yourself, I know who you are.
I'm Daniel Tartaglia, Special Counsel to the Town of Rye for commercial tax certs. The school refund, the total school refund on this is $44,877. The total village refund on this is $21,901. I've spoken with Tony Siligato. He was aware that this was about to be settled and is comfortable with the settlement, as is the school district and Phil Solano. So these are basically kind of industrial buildings toward the end of Purdy Avenue and Martin Place. There's probably 2 people in this room that know where Martin Place is. It's the last street in Portchester before you fall into the river. If you pull into the Costco parking lot, there's a cliff there. It dead ends at the top of the cliff, so it's really at the very, very end of the village. So most of the uses there are all very heavy industrial.
All right, thank you. You might as well stay up there, because we have a whole bunch to come. We'll do one at a time.
Sure.
Unless there are any questions, may I have a motion and a second?
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. certiorari on 70 Putnam Avenue. Dan?
Yeah, this is a small building. If you come down Putnam Avenue, it's on the right-hand side. It's a small, single-story building that's used for a heating and plumbing business. There's a separate lot next to it. We settled this one. They withdrew the challenge on the lot, and we settled just on the building. The village's refund on this will be $2,674, and the school district is $5,467. And again, I've spoken with Mr. Siligato and Mr. Solano on both of these, so they're aware of these.
Thank you. 211 South Ridge Street, we all know that building.
211 South Ridge Street, we were able to settle this one quickly and painlessly because there was a sale, and we used the sale number. This is a Brook property as well as a Portchester School District property. It's that three-story office building on the corner of South Ridge and Ellendale Avenue. As Hope knows, probably nobody else here knows, I grew up across the street from there.
I knew that.
So I know the property well. And we just settled this based upon the purchase price. The village's refund on this is $4,571, and the school district is $10,819. I spoke with Phil Ciliano on this, and Chris Bradbury. Both of them were okay with the settlement.
Thank you. Next one is 1579 Atlantic Avenue. Realty Corp. on 708 East Boston Post Road in Mamaroneck. Is this one yours too?
This one is mine too. This is a gas station in Mamaroneck. There were two gas stations that were part of the same settlement. One is the gas station in the corner of Bowman Avenue and South Ridge Street in Brook, and this was the other one. The village's refund on this is $4,626. School district is $15,261. I spoke with both the village and the Rhinex School District. No, I did not speak with the village. I did put a call in to the finance office. They haven't gotten back to me yet, but I did speak to the school district, and they understand and are okay with this. They've budgeted for it.
Thank you. May I have a motion in a second?
So moved.
I'll second.
Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Can we go back? Did we take a vote on 211 South Ridge Street?
No.
Jill just whispered in my ear. I told you, I always miss something. May I have a motion and a
thought you were
second
gonna
for
do three at a
211 South Ridge Street?
So moved.
And I'll second.
Do you want to bundle these?
That's what I thought he was doing.
That's what I thought you started doing truthfully. I
Can
was
you do
thinking,
like an omnibus motion for a moment?
No.
okay,
Dan and Gary,
Councilperson?
I want to
Please.
thank you. Oh, sorry.
Please call the roll.
Oh, no, I just wanted to thank you guys for taking care of this issue so expeditiously, because it could have been a big hit if it wasn't, if it continued, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Call the roll on 211, please.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson? And
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. This is Ridge Street, Rybrook, which is 71, 75, 79 South Ridge, and 89 Bowman.
Yeah, this, Mr. Supervisor, this is kind of the corner now. There's the gas station. There's a lot adjacent to the gas station on Bowman. It's a parking lot. They keep repair cars there, or cars that they're working on. And then they bought the lot just north of the site on South Ridge Street. There was a dilapidated house. They took the house down. It's an empty lot right now. So that's why there's three different parcels here. We settled this, the village's, all of these actually, the village's refund on this is $7,216, and the school district is $17,308. Again, I've spoken with Chris Bradbury, who's okay with the settlement, as is Phil Ciliano for the school district.
And this is the gas station right on the corner of Ridge Street and
Yes,
Bowman,
yes.
right? That's the one that originally was Texaco, then became Exxon.
Sarasa.
It was originally Delwood Dairy.
Whoa, that's good.
Back in the day, yeah.
Can't go back
Not
on
Not
me.
too many
No, I remember.
that.
My neighbor used to own that. No, nothing's before your time, Tom. Okay, may I have a motion and a second? Oh, call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson? And
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. And now, the infamous one, what we call WULU.
You called.
Okay, this has been hanging around since 2014. So that's eight years. And you can see that the AVs are in the 20 millions. And Dan, why don't you explain this, because this, I believe, is an
This is
excellent,
the-
excellent settlement.
Yeah, this was these buildings are along Midland Avenue in Portchester. They originally started out as light industrial flex space, but they've really upgraded over time. This particular stretch has the BMW repair, which is really almost a showroom. The assessor's office has gone through those buildings, had reviewed all of the leases on these, and this was a lot of work from the assessment department, and I laud them for everything they did to help us get to this settlement. You see, they've withdrawn for the older years, which is an excellent result for us. There is a correction here. When I drafted these resolutions, I sent them yesterday to the assessor, who proofread them. I revised them this morning and sent them to the clerk. And I'm not sure what version you have, but if you look at the 2018 original assessment, it's the fourth column. What number is showing on your version?
23,926,100.
Okay, the correct number there should be 22,926,100. So you make that correction, please.
Okay.
You'll see the math works across the last column. I've resent these to you, Hope, a few minutes
Yeah, I
ago,
was
so.
looking for the attachment. Okay,
Oh, maybe, all right, I'll make sure you get the
okay,
correct
great,
one on this.
thank you.
I went over this again, I called Tony Siligato, they knew this was coming. This had actually been settled back in October, and we waited a long time for the consent judgment to come along. We're not sure why. So they were aware of it, the school district and the village were both aware that we had settled it, didn't really know what the refund numbers were. The village's refund on this is going to be $24,815, and the school district is, of course, more than that, it's $50,662.14.
And they both approved those.
Mhm.
All right, great. May I have a motion and a second?
I'll second.
Call the roll, Hope?
Councilperson Jaffe? Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, thank you. And this next one is 650 Homestead Avenue in Mamaroneck.
650 Halston. This is a case that didn't have a lot of years in. I've explained when we have the quarterly meetings with the school district and the villages and the towns, and they're asking us how we approach settlement on some of these cases. Sometimes you get a call from petitioner's counsel who doesn't have a lot of years in, but is getting a lot of pressure from an owner. And it's usually very helpful to examine and try to settle those cases, because if the owner is very anxious to settle, you usually will get a good settlement here. This one here, I believe we did get a very good settlement on this. Again, Denise picked up a correction on this. If you look at the final column under reduction, it says 669,200. I'm sorry, it says 699,200. It should be 669,200, and that's on the revised one that I sent to Hope. The village's portion of refund on this is $4,088, and the school district is $13,500. Again, I've spoken both with the village, no, I have not spoken with the village, I keep forgetting this is Mamaroneck. I haven't spoken with the village yet on these two that I have in Mamaroneck, but I did speak with the school district, and they're fine with them.
Thank you. Motion and a second, please.
So, I'll second.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. And the last one, AutoZone. We all know about AutoZone, and that's Jeff's case.
For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Jeffrey Linder, the town attorney, and also I handle selected tax cert work. This case is related to the AutoZone store, which is in the village of Portchester. It's only 3 years at issue. The school district exposure, assuming we get the consent judgment signed relatively soon, is about $20,000 to the school district, or gonna come from the school district, and about $10,000 from the village. Spoken to both of them, and they're okay.
Thank you. Any questions? Motion and a second, please.
I'll second.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson? And
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Okay. That finishes the tax certs for the day. And Jeff, please make sure that our spreadsheet is amended to put all of those into the non-active column.
Right.
We should have a very good quarterly meeting next time. By the way, any of,
Gary?
yes,
Sorry to interrupt you. Also, just a reminder, if we are going to not issue any refunds for the 2022 taxes based on the 2021 roll, I will need fully executed consent judgments by about the first week in March. So I can change the roll for Nick to do the tax bills. He's going to be starting that work soon.
all right, thank you, Denise.
Thanks.
The quarterly meetings are now I don't know what to call it, thirdly meetings? We eliminated one, we're meeting 3 times a year with all of the taxing jurisdictions, the villages and the school boards. And I just wanted to say, if any of the members of the council would like to attend any of them, feel free to do so. They aren't very exciting, I must say, but they could be informational.
And we do publish the spreadsheet
Yes. Where is that published?
on the website.
On our website.
And when are the meetings?
Well, we usually have them, they're in the afternoon. And, yeah, the first one is usually around 3, because we take each community one after the other. When is the next one? The next one is coming up soon, I think. I don't remember. We had one in January. Did we have one in January? I think we did. Yes, it's not gonna be for a while. Because the January meeting is important because all of the entities are preparing their budgets, and they need to know in advance what refunds might be applicable.
May 10th.
May 10th? Okay. Yeah.
The first one starts at 3, then session 2 at usually 3:30, and then we do the final session at 4 o'clock.
So you're all welcome if you'd like to attend. We do it via Zoom, so it makes it easy. The next one, our last resolution, probably one of the most important, is authorizing the implementation and funding of the bridge project at South Barry Avenue. As you're aware, we were we were awarded a grant under the Bridge New York program at a construction cost of, total of over $5 million. Thank you, Dan. This is the first part of it. Debbie and I and Janai attended a Zoom meeting with the DOT people, Department of Transportation, Bridge New York people, just this afternoon, and were advised that in order to get going, we needed to approve a resolution, which they drafted for us, and basically committing to pay our share of the first part of it. Now, this is a reimbursement program, so whatever we lay out gets reimbursed to the tune of 95%. It's one of the best programs around in terms of grant reimbursement. And they told us that the turnaround time is about a month. I'll believe it when I see it. But anyway, so that's what this is about. This is a resolution that we did not draft. It's a resolution that the state drafted for us. The only opening was where the funds get appropriated from, and I spoke to Dave earlier, and he texted Hope and myself as to the wording, which is, if you look at it,
I wrote it in. Unappropriated.
if you look at the second to the bottom resolved on the first page, sum of $565,000 hereby appropriated from the unrestricted fund balance and made available, etc. So that is how the resolution reads. Any questions about either the project or the resolution?
I have a question after we pass this resolution about another bridge, but we'll cross
All right,
that
we'll
bridge
talk-
when we get
we'll-
there.
We'll cross that bridge. That's very good. I
Good
like
one.
that one, Lindsay. This is the same bridge we did temporary repairs to last year, and to prevent it from falling down. So this is a major, major project, and there's a lot of paperwork involved. You would not believe how much paperwork is involved.
Actually, Debbie, I know that the Shore Acres Neighborhood Association was involved in the beginning with this project. Have we been in contact with them recently?
We have not been in contact with them. There is a document on my desk to edit that Janai drafted that has not gotten any further,
Okay.
but certainly will.
All right, keep me posted on that. I just
Of
want to
course.
make sure the neighborhood knows what to expect.
Oh, certainly. Well,
Well,
we
don't
have
worry.
a 2-year, we
Timeline.
have 24 months to get the design
Yes.
together.
And another 30 months for the construction.
Yep.
So
And
when
we-
this is done, maybe none of us will be here. So
Well, I can tell you that we are determined that we will include neighborhood input into the design.
Fantastic.
one of the good parts about this project, compared to the other bridge that we're doing, is there apparently is very little or none, no land acquisition. In other words, we don't need to take anything by eminent domain or negotiate. So that is very good. And with that, may I have a motion and a second? Lindsay, you can make the motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Oh,
Go Tommy.
Well,
Right out in front of it.
he used to be the highway superintendent in charge of
Yeah.
bridges.
this is
Yep.
his specialty. Okay.
Please call the roll.
Councilperson Jaffe?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
And there are some requirements about sending it under seal, et cetera. Debbie could go over with you if she hasn't already to them. I don't think, based on what I know of our town staff, I don't think that they will see any quicker response to their program than we will give them. Right? Right.
Right.
Debbie, do you know where we are with the funding for the Hillside Avenue? I know there was sort of discussion about it before the holidays and then
There hasn't been any progress on that.
Okay.
Lindsay, you had another bridge you wanted to mention?
Yeah, that was it, Hillside.
Just Hillside?
Oh, yes, I just wanted to see what the status was.
Well, we're also working with the Village of Amerenik on a third bridge.
Ooh.
Debbie?
The deputy village manager reached out to me with regard to Short Street Bridge.
That's right. I walked that this morning with my dog, right around the corner from me.
Well,
Then you can be the construction supervisor.
Yes. When I was a kid, I would drop, pebble on one side and then run across. Watch.
That's why the bridge is falling down.
Yes, it was. I was going back and forth all day.
Mr. Supervisor, I just want to say, we have no idea if the bridge is falling down or that it is falling down, but we will be getting an assessment of the called
It's not even called
From
a
an
bridge
engineer.
by the state, it's called a culvert.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I know that there have been issues sort of in that area along the Otter Creek, which is what it crosses, regarding flooding. So just keep that in mind,
Will do.
Well, the next Bridge New York invitation will be next year in 2023. So we can get an inspection, but we can't make an application for Bridge New York until then. And I don't think the bridge is in such condition that it warrants us to do anything at this point ourselves. Unlike what happened with Otter Creek, where we had to do the emergency work.
Well, like I said, I just want to bring to your attention that there has been significant flooding issues in the area, as there is all around the town. But just something to keep in mind when we think about the design. If we can kind of include something there or work with the town to add on to it, that would be interesting.
Okay. Thank you. Now for our reports. First up is Denise. Do you have a report, Denise? Or,
No, I have nothing new to report at the moment.
okay, thank you. Crawford Park. Camille.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Is this, it's up there, okay. So actually I have two reports tonight. One is the monthly Crawford activity report, and then I'm going to give you an update on the charging stations, okay? So we're off to a really good start. In the past 6 weeks, we've had 48 inquiries. We have 15 proposals out right now. We've already booked 41 events for 2022, which includes 27 dates that we had booked last year as well. We have 311 event days booked, and I've talked about this before. This is basically the number of days we have events taking place. So while we have a soccer league that's one contract, but there are numerous days, we count those as event days, okay? Revenue to date, we're at almost $44,000 for the year. We have had 7 municipal events and have, whoops, that went off, that had we've waived $5,600 so far this year. And we are having a lot of municipal activity. The Portchester School District has been here quite a bit, and little by little the community groups and organizations are finding us and liking to have their meetings here. As far as what areas we're booking, this is really a seasonal number. Right now, 53 of our bookings are at the Mansion, 33 at the Pavilion, 7% at the sports field, and events that are at both simultaneously at the Mansion and Pavilion. And Westchester, going forward, Westchester Soccer Shots has signed up with us for 6 months, 72 sessions. Rybrook Youth Soccer League, 3 months, 126 sessions. Our chess class is currently with us for 3 months, 24 sessions. And we have a fitness class twice a week for 6 months, 48 sessions. So we really are busy, inside and out. And it just continues to amaze us that how popular we are here, and we're delighted. Couple more big events, which I mentioned some of them last month. Soul Riders Gala, Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Cub Scouts are having their blue and gold dinner. And our wedding that we're anxiously waiting, Memorial Day, it's a 2-day event. So we're looking forward to working that one. And so far we have 2 bookings, confirmed bookings for 2023, and 6, I believe, inquiries in addition to that. So that's where we are at Crawford. We're busy, and we're glad we're
Let me
busy.
ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
On usage by locations, I assume that in the cold weather months, that's why the mansion is 50% of the usage as opposed to, for example, the sports fields or even the pavilion, right? And that's gonna probably flip around in the spring. The revenue, did you have a chance to compare the revenue? I assume, is that a 2-month revenue, January and February?
6 weeks.
6 weeks?
And it also includes monies that were collected in 2021 for events that are taking place this year.
All right. But how does that compare? I know last year was a COVID year, but how does this compare to the same period last year?
I can certainly check that for you.
I'd just be curious.
Sure.
And we've budgeted, what was our estimate of revenue for the year?
For last year?
No, this coming year.
Davey, you have that number?
I believe it's 200,000.
Yeah, I thought it was like 248.
Is that
I mean,
net,
that's where we ended up for the end of the year.
is that
close
net
to
or
it.
gross?
248 is probably gross.
So the question is, if you have 6 weeks at 44,000, then you should be on pace, I would think, to at least match
Yes.
the budget number. Okay, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, it's the number is 205.
All right.
That's what we budgeted for gross revenue.
Okay. Okay, any other questions?
So that's gross revenue of 205, and we already have 44,000, and that's net. So that's a pretty good start, considering we haven't even hit the spring season yet.
As long as it's in the account, that's.
Spoken like our controller. Thank you, Dave. All right.
Okay.
Is that it, Camille? Thank you so much.
I do have a brief report on the charging stations. if you
Oh,
like
oh,
that,
good.
or
Oh,
we
I didn't,
can-
right.
I do have, I'm sorry, I do have a couple of quick questions, and I apologize. The Cub Scouts and the Big Brothers, Big Sisters, as well as Soul Riders, those are all paying?
Soul Riders, yes. Big Brothers and Sisters, yes. Cub Scouts, no.
Okay, they're associated with the school. And is Big Brothers, Big Sisters a local chapter or?
White Plains.
White Plains, okay. So as far as, making sure that we get the community, have the ability for the community to use it, we're pretty.
Yeah.
And have we had any local organizations inquire but not be able to use it because of the price, or?
No.
Okay,
No.
good.
Matter of fact, and today we just booked the Cub Scouts' 2nd annual camp out.
That's
So,
fantastic.
yeah, so they're pretty
Yep.
excited about that.
Yep, I just want to make sure the community's using it and getting to enjoy it.
And I have one quick question. The proposals that are pending and the dates that are on hold, do you take a deposit? Is it refundable or non-refundable?
The events that are on hold or proposals, when we receive correspondence back saying, yes, we do want to move forward
Okay.
with the event, we convert that to a contract. And to hold the date, they have 7 days to pay the deposit.
Okay.
Security deposit will hold their event until.
Okay.
Now I think Tommy wants to know if that's refundable or not.
Yeah, is it refundable? Because if they're gonna hold the date, and then they decide, they send a deposit, and at the last minute, say, well, we decide not to have the party, we're going somewhere else. Well, you know, to me, I feel they should lose a deposit.
Well, I mean, right now, the policy is 6 weeks prior to the event is sort of the turning point. So if you cancel prior to 6 weeks before the event, you do get a refund.
Okay.
If you cancel anywhere in that 6-week period, you
'Cause as
lose everything.
Because I was in your office today and I saw how the calendar was, and I see how popular the weekends are the first to go, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
And I just don't think it's right that somebody comes and takes a
agree.
weekend, a prime Saturday or Sunday, and then all of a sudden, the last minute decides, well, I don't want to do it, I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Agreed.
And then, you know, now you have people that wanted that weekend that had to settle for something else.
Yeah. We actually sort of keep a backup if we've had multiple requests for the same date. So in the event that someone does decide they don't want to move forward, we have been able to reach out to some of the other folks that have inquired.
Okay,
So we do track that.
all right, thank you.
Okay. So the charging stations, just want to give you sort of a snapshot of full year for 2021. And I mean, we've talked about this. I mean, the amount of people that are now coming in and charging their vehicles has really increased tremendously. This is a month-by-month snapshot of the number of sessions we have each month. In total, we've had 1,610, which is an average of 134 charges a month. And what I think is really interesting and very telling is that if you look at the second row, this January, we've had 118 sessions compared to 75 in January of last year. And in February of last year, we had 48 for the entire month. This month, we have 63 in the past 2 weeks. So the number is really, really growing. Let's see, okay. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. In terms of how many unique drivers or unique customers, I guess, we have, last year we had a total of 406 unique people using the charging stations. If one of those or any of these people use it multiple times, this is still only counted as one. Okay, so this really goes by a count. And the average number we get a month is 34 unique drivers or chargers. And for January of this year, we've had 36 unique people, and last January was 20. And here we are, it's interesting, last February total was 15 people, and the past 2 weeks is 15. So we're really on a path to having this really become tremendous. So that said, okay, just want to go over some very brief financial metrics for you. The average length of a session is 4 hours and 25 minutes, of which 3 hours and 13 minutes are actual charging time. So there's quite a bit of idle time with these sessions. Right now, the past 30 days, the cost to the town has been $279 in terms of the utilities. I did a little additional math here just to give you an idea. I know that there's thoughts about potential revenue. So for 2021, there was a total of 6,843 charging hours. Using the $279 a month, the average cost to the town would be $3,348. And extending that out, if we were to charge an average of, say, $1.50 per hour, the potential revenue could grow to $10,000 plus dollars. The $1.50 comes from, it's an average of Mount Pleasant, Mamaroneck, and White Plains. Mamaroneck being the most expensive at $2 an hour. Okay.
Who else charges $150?
I'm sorry?
Who else charges $150?
No one. They,
What are the other rates?
Mount Pleasant and White Plains each charge $1, and Mamaroneck charges $2.
Okay.
And lastly, just to give you some environmental metrics, the town, Crawford's charging stations have avoided or contributed to avoiding 20,181 kilos of greenhouse gas emissions. I have to admit, I don't really know what that means, but I'm assuming it's probably pretty good, because the next information they shared with us is that that avoidance is like planting 517 trees and letting them grow for 10 years. So I think that's good. I'm assuming it is.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Does that figure take into account the source of electricity, how the electricity is, whether it's coal, fire, hydro?
No, it doesn't come in on any of our reports. I'm sure we could look into that. But that's it.
I
Okay.
think all ours comes from nuclear fuel.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Camille. That was really well done.
Thank you.
Very well done. Vic, you have anything new for us?
Just a couple of minor things. I don't know if we mentioned it last month, but for the second year in a row, we are Tree City USA. Thank you to Sylvie. And we consistently do plant trees each year. We do proper pruning, thanks to Bartlett and Central Tree. I want to thank all of you and Debbie for the invasive vine grant. If you do walk this property, and especially now right out here where we have our natural amphitheater, you can see areas you've never been able to see before. The only other thing, I want to thank the guys that worked it. A lot of the maintenance men spent many hours out there in the cold, and perfect time to do it. I can name them: Matthew Garafola, Angel Coit, Sergio Perez, Andrew Mariquin, and what's his name? From Rytown Park, Cerbelio. I want to thank them. They put many hours into this. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vic. We appreciate all that you do, believe me.
I do have a question in regards to basic vines, if you don't mind. On Martin Luther King weekend after, we were at the African American Cemetery. And I mean, I know Gary had wheelbarrows filled with sticks and invasive vines that we were cleaning out. Is it possible to extend the grant to another town of Rye location?
That's more.
Oh, that's more of a use. I know Bartlett does help us when we have cleanup days there, but it's not on their packet.
I would say we can't extend the grant. The grant is a 3-year grant. It is at the end.
Yeah.
We are at the end now. We will get an extension for filing paperwork, but I don't think we'll ever get an extension to do more work.
Okay.
However, we certainly can apply for another one.
But now, the overall resolution that we passed this evening, wasn't that for 3 years? Or?
That was for Arborscope. That was for maintaining our tree inventory on a piece of software that's available for us to use, available for the public to use. Where are our trees? What condition are they? What kind of tree is it? What's its girth?
And that is part and parcel through the grant that we were able to get that software.
Different grant,
Different grant.
both from the DEC.
Would
All
we-
three from the DEC.
Yeah. Would we be able to include the Arborscope or the African American Cemetery in the Arborscope?
I don't see why not. But it would, we would have to pay for the inventory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of an inventory there is.
There aren't that many trees.
Yeah, it's mostly vines. More vines.
Well-
Vines, and the trees are in the swamp, which is not our
Trees are on
property.
the outer portion, outside the property.
Okay.
Truthfully, they're on the Osborne's property.
Yeah, for anyone listening, most of the trees at the African American Cemetery are on the property of the Osborne.
Okay.
That belongs to the Osborne.
But we can obviously work with the Osborne. They've been very, very cooperative with us.
Yeah, that would be a pleasure.
Yeah.
I'd point out that there were a considerable number of officers from the Osborne who came on Martin Luther King Jr. Day
The weekend after.
to help us clean.
Yeah, they've been wonderful, and they do want to be part of activities going forward. And I'm just wondering, I'd love to look at the map again and just see if our parcel extends to 95, or if that, but if you remember where the Schlachtus is, we're cleaning down vines on the left side. I think that's still ours. I don't think that piece belongs to the Osborne. I think we abut 95. I think.
I will be happy to talk with our assessor and take another look at the map.
Is she still on?
I mean, Hope is the only one who can read the map. That's the only problem.
Well, she can meet, no, she was the only one who could read the deed.
Well, we need to, it'll be very easy for the assessor to see the block and lot and see exactly what the dimensions are.
It'll be semi-easy. It took us months to decipher what was what on those maps, but we could do it again.
And not all the maps are the same, so.
Right. It's a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle, but
Well, we could always order a survey from a licensed surveyor and let him do all the work.
we haven't budgeted for that this year.
No, we have not.
Give me a smile, Lindsay.
That's true. Dave is up next. Hello, Dave. Again.
Okay, I'm here. Just real quick, you have the receivable summary report through January 31st, 2022. In my 17 to 18 plus years tracking the receivables for the town and being involved with the town, it is the lowest it's been in that time. And now it's pretty much dollar amount, but the percentage is under 1% in terms of outstanding tax receivables as of January 31st. And that's due to the tax collections by the tax receiver, the supervisor, the town attorney in terms of collecting back taxes. So that's the good thing. On page 2 of that summary is just the 12 properties as of January 31st. And Jeff refers to these 12 properties as the Dirty Dozen. He also wanted to play Yul Brynner as part of his role. But I told him that was not the Dirty Dozen, that was the Magnificent Seven. So I said he could play Telly Savalas. So that's where we are on that. One of the properties paid in February, so we're down to 11.
You know, we're expecting more also. We're expecting additional payments, Dave.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff is working them. We're in court on a couple, and we expect to get several. And we're also getting ready for the next group that will be filed in July.
July.
We have about 25, I think, although Nick sent me a new list, which I haven't had a chance, he sent it today, I haven't had a chance to look to see if any of those paid. But we're going after them very, very seriously. Some of the, just trying to, yeah. Going back to page 1, those tax receivables, as of 1/31/22, those receivables include everything? In other words, including How much in
They-
arrears are those? Are those like 1 year in arrears, or are they like including the school bills that were just sent out?
It does not include the school taxes, just for comparison purposes. Does include the school taxes through January, because there's about 9 million in collections that doesn't hit till the first few days of February. So it's I don't report on it till the February month to
Yeah,
get a
but
real
that-
handle on the school receivables.
Yeah, but this is not just a year in advance, it's even more recent than that, so that's even a better collection, am I correct?
Yes,
Right.
yes.
And just in the last year, we went down from, the total liens outstanding from 2.3 million to 1.4 million. And that's a pretty big drop, so.
Right, and that's the money the town has outlaid as a make-whole to the different municipalities. So the lower, that's the lower that dollar amount is, it's really the town's money at that point.
Yeah,
So every dollar we collect, we write it to cash reserves.
Jeff and I are working on a totally new program to collect taxes, right, Jeff?
Correct.
Starting probably next week.
We're getting increasingly muscular.
We're, yeah. So, it's on Jeff's back to do it. All right, that's great. Dave, thank you so much.
And the only other comment is that the 2021 audit field work is starting next week. So we're presenting that, and as I put in the email, we had a very good year in 2021, revenue and overall surplus. So we'll try to get those audit results finalized by end of March. So we have some draft numbers to present to the board that have been at least reviewed by the auditors.
Just one other thing, on one of your notes, on the cell tower, you have, the attorney is disputing the tax lien. You spoke to him personally, because I didn't get any information in that regard.
I did speak to him, and he was the stand that he was taking is that the property should be exempt, and shouldn't be subject to taxes. And I pointed out that they have to apply for exemption, and this was the first year that this cell tower was assessed with taxes, and they did not file for the exemption from that year. They've done it every year since, and but so this is outstanding, and
That's gonna be resolved. It's gonna be, yeah, we're talking with the cell tower people, and that ultimately will be resolved probably within the next month or so.
Okay.
So. And I also point out that they never filed a grievance, so they can't claim the tax exemption now. So that's a whole other issue. We could get into the dirt about that offline. So, thanks. Is Nick on? Does Nick have any report today?
I asked him.
No report from Nick? Okay. His numbers are filed anyway. Our town clerk's report is filed. Do you want to add anything to that?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Debbie, do we have anybody online, comments from the public?
I've seen nothing. I have one question that came in that was just wondering how we compare the homestead rates from year to year. Is there a way to compare this year's to last year's?
Yeah, Yeah, we have lists. You can check the, either with the assessor, or because she keeps a list, or you could look at the resolution from last year.
I was trying. It's
I
not
have a
pulling up.
spreadsheet though
Cool.
also. I
You have
do
it?
one as well.
Okay, so, no, that's,
But Denise works on one, here she is.
Yeah.
I do have a spreadsheet on that. I'd be happy to send it to you.
Perfect, thank you.
Do you want that now,
No,
Pam?
you can send it to me.
Okay,
at
we'll
a
do.
normal time.
all right, did you have anything else, Denise? Because I had asked, you weren't on before when I asked. Do you have anything else you'd like to comment on? Say anything?
No, I'm good for now,
You're good?
thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Comments from the council?
I just
Nope.
want to wish my fellow council person, Tommy Nardi, a happy birthday.
Is it today?
Yesterday.
Oh,
Yesterday.
happy birthday.
So, happy birthday and
Anybody else? Nothing?
I'll take an opportunity to thank everyone who came out to the community cleanup at the African American Cemetery, which we did the weekend after Martin Luther King, and we're planning on going back again with a Juneteenth event there. So please do mark your calendars for that weekend. It'd be lovely for everyone to join us.
Thank you, everybody, for birthday wishes, and also for the people out there. You know, we're live. We ask, you know, if you have any comments, please comment. You know, we'll do our best to answer whatever questions you have. You really should. It's your community. Go out, you know, speak your opinion or any questions. And that's about it.
Tommy will answer them all.
yes,
No, Joe, Lindsay will.
yeah. I have an answer for every. No.
We do stream on Facebook, and you know, many people know how to get us individually, so we're happy
Yeah.
to field questions.
Right, and I really don't have anything except to thank you for everybody. We are constantly updating our COVID policy. We have a brand-new COVID policy effective a few days ago. Debbie, that memo didn't go out? I didn't see the final. So why don't you just send it to the council, and so they can review it. Basically, it's going back to where we were before the last order of the governor. We're requesting people who come into the town offices to be masked, but we're not requiring it. The staff is also mostly masked while they're working, but if they're at their desks, they can feel free to take the masks off. And everybody in the office is fully vaccinated. So basically, that's it. I've said before, the most difficult time of this whole pandemic episode for municipal officials is, I think, deciding, you know, how to come out of it. You know, as tough as it was in the beginning when everything was shut down, at least you knew what the rules were. You know, it's shut down. And now, with so many changes, it's difficult to follow what exactly we should all be doing. And we officials are in no different position than everybody else as to what should be done. When should we wear our masks? When is it safe not to wear our masks? I still urge everybody to get a full set of vaccinations. That is the best way, the safest way to keep yourself, if not away from mild cases of COVID, the best way to keep yourself out of the hospital and the best way to keep yourself from dying, which is a pretty important thing, I think. So anyway, that's me for tonight. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, good night.